Okay, so comments.
You're live.
I know, I'm just trying to figure out the comments. Okay.
We ain't here yet. Just me.
Well, it's right at 7.
Yeah, somebody just hopped in. Wall. Yes.
What?
Wall.
Oh, I didn't see it. Hey, Tony, how are you, buddy? Hey, Michael. Britton Farm Homestead, how are you? Greetings. So hopefully, I don't think we'll have anything like we did last week. Last week we had, I want to say close to 50 or 60 people, but it was also because of the giveaway. So I'm under no misconceptions that they were coming to see me per se or Little Rick. They wanted to know who was the winner. So thanks for stopping by. I had to go down before this started and had to redo my hair because I had a helmet head today. It's been beautiful, like low 80s today, low humidity, no rain. So I rode my motorcycle yesterday, rode it today, and when I got home, I walked in, kind of changed my clothes, and my head was like flat. So I had to go fix that. Michael, how are you, friend? Susan Lavoie from California. Hope you're not anywhere near them fires, Susan. Hope you're staying safe. Southern Life Homestead, how are you, sir? Yeah, I was watching your video the day that you were heading down to Texas. How's the development coming down there? That property, that's a beautiful property you got. So last week on our live, someone had mentioned, and it's something that we never really thought about. I never thought about. Maybe Lil Rick thought about it, but they brought up that they couldn't read our icon when we're in a chat like this, and so I got looking at it. It's like he's absolutely right. I mean, it's not something that kind of stands out. So this week, I tasked Little Rick with kind of looking at that icon. I took the first step at it, and it looked really, really not good. I think Little Rick said something to the effect, "I hate it," or "I can't stand that," something to that effect. And I'll be honest, when he redid the logo or that little icon that you'll see in the chat, I didn't like it, but it's kind of, the more I see it, it's kind of growing on me. So
You're talking about the one we have on there now.
yeah. So what do you think? Do you think that stands out better in a chat?
Michael Harris, what's going on, buddy? Dad rides a Harley, and so does Lala.
Yeah, I've got a 2012 Street Glide CVO. It's probably my last bike that I'll ever own because it's a nice bike, and I like it. It's comfortable. I traded in a Road Glide for the Street Glide. And in retrospect, I don't know that was a smart decision because my 53-year-old back much preferred the Road Glide over the Street Glide. But boy, do I look good riding, and I'm just sore afterwards. So I enjoy it. It's fun. So, but you can't really ride. I mean, my bike is not water cooled. It's air cooled. So in the summertime, when it's 105 degrees, all of that heat just comes up and just really radiates up onto the rider. So it's tough to ride down here in the heat of the summer. But now, this week we've had this week in particular has been, in the 60s and 70s pretty much all day long. So this is optimal. This is the reason that people live in Florida is this time of the year. It's June, July, and August that people want to move back to wherever they came from because it is just brutally hot and humid.
I know this morning whenever I actually got up to go to work, I get up really, really early because I have to be there by around 7 o'clock. And I got to help get kids ready and whatnot. It was 63 degrees on my dash. I was so excited.
Actually, I wore a long shirt yesterday, the first one I've worn in months. Hey, homegrown wife, how are you? Welcome. Susan, that's great. So I thought that most of Northern California, this is Susan Lavoie, was kind of, that's where those fires were, was up in the northern part of the state. So you're saying that's just smoky up there then. I know it's really bad up in Oregon. Well, I'm thankful that that's not impacting you at all. To look at it the way the news covers it, it looks horrible watching that on the news. So I'm glad that you're safe. Nothing edited. Thanks you. You're not late. You're just on time. They call it fashionably late. So don't you worry about it. Nothing edited. If you guys have not seen Nothing Edited, she does a lot of cooking videos and some thought-provoking kind of videos. One of them, it's basically she takes multiple ingredients that you would buy if you were food limited and sees what you can put together with that food that she has to feed a family or a person for an entire day. It really, some of these videos really get you thinking that if any one of us were not really, if we weren't as fortunate as we are with respect to food security, if you were really ever to enter a position of food insecurity, what would you do? And that's I think what a lot of Nothing Edited's videos, or a lot of that series kind of addresses. So Nothing is, I owe her a debt of gratitude because we were kind of chugging right along. We were adding 2 or 3 subscribers every other day or so, and then I woke up on a Saturday morning and I look at my phone and I say, well, wow, I mean, we added like 15 or 20 people overnight. And I'm like, what happened? And what happened was Nothing Edited, without anything. She didn't tell me she was doing or nothing, just because she thought it was the right thing to do. She put out on her community tab, go check out La La Farm. So she single-handedly pushed us over 100 or 1,000 subscribers. And she doesn't get a whole lot of credit, but when I do the Meatloaf Wars introduction video, it was Nothing Edited's live stream that I was attending the day or listening to the day that we decided, we're gonna do this Meatloaf War thing. So it was her subscribers that said, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's run with it. And, it's kind of a competition. I don't know if it's a competition to her, but it is to me, where I try to beat her to comment on these Meatloaf. She beats me every single time. So she's very good. If you haven't checked out her channel, go do so. I mean, she's great lady.
I just dropped a link in the comments. So I think it was Crooked Woods Family Orchard. Thanks for tuning in. And he said that, or they said that they had subbed to Nothing Edited.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna just to show you what I'm talking about. So she said Nothing Edited said, it's what if video. So I'm just gonna go over there and kind of
Those are cool videos.
pull up her most recent one and show you what I'm talking about. I mean, it's really cool and it's very, very thought provoking. So this is one that she put out 4 days ago.
I think she did one on like breakfasts or something like that. Like she does a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I think, with just a small number of ingredients. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just very thought provoking. If you had reached a point of kind of food insecurity, what would you do? And this is the food for the day. And could you feed yourself the entire day on that? And it's just we're blessed. I know my family is blessed that we have a point of food security where we grow a lot of our own proteins, but frankly, we're pretty dependent on others right now for we're dependent on stores. We're dependent on other farmers for a lot of our produce and things like that. And my commitment to our farm is that over the next year that we're going to become more food independent with respect to more canning, more growing. We've got one video out where, I'm working on the garden. That's my goal over winter, is to get my garden area completely set and have, for the first time in probably 10 years, our own garden. I mean, work's just got in the way, and I can think of 1,000 reasons why we don't have a garden. But that's going to stop in 2021. Just so that we can be more food secure. So, Nothing puts one of these videos out every once in a while, and I enjoy them. I enjoy her content. She's a darn good cook too. So, nothing too long. These videos aren't 10, 15, 20 minutes long, but she does a good job. So how many we got here? We got like 11 people in there. That's awesome. Thank you, everybody. So what do you think of that little icon? Do you think that's better than what we had before? Is that more readable?
The real question is if this is the thing. So like Dad gave you the backstory where he put Lala. That was the entire thing. And I just told him, I was like, I really don't like the idea of just having Lala, because it kind of reminded me of when you have a YouTube channel and you're not really using it, you're not really a channel, or you're just one that watches the videos, which nothing's wrong with that whatsoever. But usually they're just assigned a letter, and it just kind of reminded me of that letter. And I told Dad, I was like, well, I'll work on it because I'm the kind of the artsy fartsy in the group. He's
artsy fartsy. I've never heard him described as artsy.
Well, I mean, I would actually. He's a
very good designer. I would not call him artsy fartsy. There's something about the beard
that be Rebecca.
That would be your sister.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, actually, Rebecca was doing some artsy fartsy kind of things the other day with our new T-shirts. Trying to take some pictures of the T-shirts. That way we can get them up on the webpage or the website. So, but my question is do you guys think, I mean, I'm going to keep it Lala Farm. I don't like just the Lala. But my question is would you guys take the goat, the chicken, and the pig completely out of the logo because you think it's too busy? Or do you think that my perfect icon that I've already made is just that? Is it perfect? So let me know.
See, he's implanting your opinion in your head so that you have to. That's how brainwashing works. You're not asking for an opinion. You're asking them to agree with you. So, all right.
Whiskey said he just watched the flight training, or he's watching the flight training museum video. That is a really cool video. I actually told Dad a lot of the time he'll go out and he'll get his own footage. And that makes it really difficult on me when it comes to editing, because I wasn't there to actually see it get recorded. And thank you, Mama Z. I like the logo too. But it makes it really difficult to actually go out and or to edit those videos just because I really don't know what's going on. And a lot of time when we edit a video, especially, the ones that sit here and they edit as well, at the end of the day, you really get camera crazy and what's going on, Camo? And you end up getting like 3 or 4 hours of footage, and it makes for a really long editing process if you're trying to sift through 3 or 4 hours of footage.
Southern Life Homestead, he said, I'm going to be doing the same thing if I have enough canning jars for a long time. So that's funny you say that, because when we went up to camp on our camping trip last weekend, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we have not been able to find now. Well, I can't tell you this because it's a question later, but where we live, it's been difficult to locate canning jars, canning equipment, lids in particular. So every time we go into Track Supply, every time we go to Walmart, every time I go into Winn-Dixie, I'm looking for canning jars. They're very hard to find. So when we went on our camping trip a couple of weeks ago, we went up to the Tractor Supply in Douglas, Georgia. It's the same town where that flight museum is. And lo and behold, you walk in and they've got an entire pallet stacked probably 5 foot tall of nothing but wide mouth quart jars. They didn't have a single lid, but they had all the jars. So I asked Lala, I said, go get a shopping cart. She said, well, what are you doing? And I said, I'm getting as many cases of these jars as we can fit into this cart, so I don't have to make more than one trip. So we ended up bringing back 6 cases of quart jars. And then, it's kind of funny what makes married couples, what gets them excited when they're in their 50s. So Lala comes home 2 days ago on Monday, and she comes running up to me. She says, guess what I got? And she's got a bag full of quart wide mouth lids that she found at Walmart. She got the last 4 boxes of lids. So it's crazy how hard it is to find things nowadays. Things that you would just never think are problematic, you just can't find. And makes no sense. I went to Walmart. I went to our local Ace Hardware looking for rat traps. There's no rat traps in stock anywhere. Why would a pandemic have any effect on rat traps? I don't know, but you can't find those either. All the things, back in 3 months ago or so, I went to the store, wanted to get some self-rising flour. Couldn't find it. It was out of stock. It's just crazy what things are available and not available and how unpredictable they are.
I think Monster took place in a portion of that whole making sure that there were no rat traps.
Yeah, Monster's so Monster's the little silver pit that you saw on. There was the question last week, he's a pit bull. He's one of the most intimidating looking pit bulls, particularly when he was a lot younger, that I've ever seen. He's just absolutely muscle bound animal. He is the biggest baby. We found him last weekend. He had caught a rat, and the rat, he put his paw down on the rat and put his head on top of the rat, was just laying there, had caught a rat and would not kill it, wouldn't bite it. He just laying there with it. So as a rat catching, killing dog, he's useless. He would consider them his friends, I guess. So I don't know. Very odd. Very odd. Mama Z's Texas Kitchen. Well, that's where I ended up finding the wide mouth jars, was at Tractor Supply. Somebody had commented on Whiskey and Sunshine Off Grid. Thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed that video. Every one of my things, and it used to be, I don't know that my kids really ever enjoyed it. I think they probably would as adults, but now my kids are grown, my kids do their own thing. So we used to go to a lot of museums when they were growing up. So we had taken them one year to the Smithsonian and so they've done that stuff because I love history and I love relics of history, and particularly war history. One of my favorite podcasts, and I listen to it going to work every day, coming home from work, is a former Navy SEAL that does a podcast called Jocko, the Jocko podcast. And it's really a lot about war, but it's from a historical perspective. For example, he was in the platoon that Chris Kyle was in, the American sniper in that movie. Jocko Willink was the platoon leader for Chris Kyle. And the day that Chris Kyle got killed, Jocko, brought him back to the States. But I love those kinds of stories that kind of give you history, but then give you kind of real history. So when we went camping up at General Coffee State Park a couple of weeks ago, of all things, they had on the map, the park map. I opened it up, and how on a menu all the way around it, a lot of times they'll have, or like a placemat at a restaurant, they'll have a bunch of little local advertisers going around the border of that placemat. And that's what this map did. So I guess they raised some money for the park by selling ad space on the back of their state park map. And one of those ad spaces was for that aviation training museum. And I said, hey, that would be a cool thing to do on Saturday. And Lala looks at me and, she didn't give me the yes, but she kind of gave me that half smirk smile that says, yeah, we can go, but I don't really want to. Well, we ended up going, and we talked to the docent, and I had to cut him off because he would have gone a whole nother hour had I just let him keep talking. I mean, very, very passionate, retired Navy vet. And I just had a blast up there. Then we went and talked to the world. Interestingly, there was Ed's Attention to Details, another channel that I follow. I don't know if I haven't seen Ed on here, but Ed contacted me afterwards, and he's a retired Navy senior chief, aviation senior chief, and basically was saying, I've heard about this thing for years and years and years, but I've wanted to go there, and I just have never made it there, and was just astounded. So he actually looked up on the authoritative internet source, Wikipedia, about this airbase, and lo and behold, they talk about the world-renowned aviation restorer, Tom, I forget his last name, but that's Tom that's in that video that I'm talking to in the hangar. That dude is world famous. I mean, he's one of the top military aircraft restorers in the world, and I had no clue. And I'm talking to this man face to face, trying to get out of the hangar because we had something else we had to get to. If I'd known that, I'd have sat there and talked to him for hours. Now, I don't know, Lala probably wouldn't have. She would have come in and grabbed me by the ear and pulled me out. But nonetheless, I love small kind of hole in the wall museums. What are some of the museums that you all have been to? Put that in your comments. Another one, if you ever get to the Northeast Florida area, Jacksonville, just south of Jacksonville, there is the Florida National Guard training base called Camp Blanding. It's down in Clay County, Florida. But as you go into this small little hole in the wall base, it's one building that's probably, I don't know, 300 foot long by maybe 60 foot wide. About 2/3 of that is dedicated to the infantry in the U.S. Army during World War II that trained at Camp Blanding. Now, growing up, my uncle, my father's brother, always told me that he had come to Camp Blanding to train in preparation for World War II. Now, he never made it to D-Day. He missed D-Day by about 3 months. He was at Camp Blanding prepping to go to Europe and never made it. The war ended before he ever got over there. But that museum talks about that's where people don't realize it, but the Big Red One, that infantry unit trained at Camp Blanding in Florida. Who'd have knew? Just really amazing stories that you find out about these little hole in the wall museums. So whenever I find one, I go. We're going camping again this weekend. So on Friday coming up, today after tomorrow, you're going to see the campground that we stayed at. That's the video on Friday, General Coffee State Park. Great park. And they have a heritage farm as part of the state park with all of these old reconstructed buildings that have been deconstructed, moved, and built back on site at General Coffee State Park. So they have probably a dozen different buildings of all types, all sizes, different purposes, all reconstructed there and maintained by the Georgia Park System. So that's where we went last week. That's going to be the video on Friday. But this weekend, we're going to Crooked River State Park, which is the state park just over the Florida-Georgia line. So I'm going up there with my daughter and her two daughters, so two of my granddaughters. So we'll get footage of that, and that'll probably be a video next week or the week after. It'll be a review of that Crooked River State Park. So the Fort Belknap, Texas. Is that another museum, Mama Z? It's kind of bummed out. One of the reasons we picked this Crooked River up in St. Mary's was that there's a National Submarine Museum there. People, you've probably never heard of St. Mary's, Georgia, but it is the home of it's one of the two major submarine bases on the east coast of the United States. Is in the little itty bitty tiny town of St. Mary's, Georgia. As soon as you go into Georgia from Florida, the first exit number 1, goes right to St. Mary's, which is a Trident nuclear sub base. Pretty cool. Let me catch up on some comments here. Neatest thing we met a sailor. Huh?
Muted. There we go. I know me and remember when we went up to the Blue Ridge? Yep. Britton says that I've been to the Bigfoot Museum.
I've been to Blue Ridge. I didn't see no Bigfoot museum there. I would have gone to the Bigfoot Museum.
There was a Bigfoot museum, and it's not very big. Like, I mean, it's cool. We didn't end up actually going there. My wife, she's all about paranormal activity and kind of hoaxes and is this real? And she loves watching alien stuff on television and YouTube and stuff like that. And so that's kind of like right up her alley. And so she was wanting so bad to go to the Bigfoot Museum. And I told her the next time we go to Blue Ridge around LJ or something like that we would go up there.
No, I never heard of the Bigfoot Museum. That's just the kind of place I would like going. So yeah, I mean, I love these little tiny museums. There's actually up in Washington D.C. There's actually a national. Who'd have thunk it? There's a National Spy Museum, and basically it's all of the things that the CIA, all of the security agencies, stuff that's been declassified, they have in this museum in Washington D.C. And it's like, just crazy stuff that, weapons and ways to hide things, like in a, how they would hide things in a cigarette box or in a shoe, just crazy stuff. So I just like novel stuff like that. If you ever get to St. Augustine, Florida, which is quote unquote the nation's oldest city, about 60 miles south, 80 miles south once you come into Florida, stop there and go to the Lichtner Museum. The Lightner Museum, I think it's how you pronounce it, Lightner Museum. And I always recommend that museum, but it's kind of a collection of collections. Is lack of that's the best way to describe that. There's a little bit of everything in there, from glass to furniture to shrunken heads from Africa and everything in between. So it's just a really, really cool museum. And it used to be in a hotel that was owned by Henry Flagler. Henry Flagler built the Florida East Coast Railroad. So it's the railroad that still operates today. So when rail comes into Florida, it comes in Jacksonville, and then there's another piece of rail that is leased to all these other railroads, whether that be Norfolk Southern or CSX, all run on Florida East Coast Railroad rail, which was started by Henry Flagler. So he wanted a way to take people down to Miami to his hotels. So he made these 2 hotels in St. Augustine, Florida, and that was kind of the interim stop. So he built these 2 hotels, the Alcazar, and then I forget the name of the really upscale one, but in the Alcazar Museum is where the Lichtner Museum, in the Alcazar Hotel is where the Lichtner Museum is housed. And the bottom of it, the bottom floor was a built-in swimming pool in Florida. So the rooms go around the building, and then you look over the rail and you look down into the swimming pool. Now, the swimming pool has been closed for 50, 60 years, but now you can go down there and eat lunch at any number of restaurants in the swimming pool. It's just kind of cool. Again, best way to find novel and unique things is just, get out of your element and go look at this stuff. I mean, it just blows me away how interesting that stuff is. Boots and Bonnets with Chris and Christy. I've seen that Texas School Book Depository is a museum. As morbid as that is, I think that would be a fascinating museum to go to. Awesome Civil War museum. So here's your. I'm not going to give you this story. Ricky, remind me later. I got to tell them the Baker County Civil War nugget. Civil War nugget for Baker County. Okay, but I can't tell you that right now. Let's get that out of the way. Let's give away a shirt. So I keep kind of beating. I keep wanting to give like geographic information out. I'm not doing that because I don't want to give away the answer to my question. First person with the answer. So we like to do questions that have relevance to our videos. So if you've watched the videos, then you're going to know the answer. What town is La La Farm located? First answer, Rick's monitoring.
And that is the town, not the county.
Not the mailing address, because the town is different from the mailing address. That's how small this town is. We get our mail in a completely different town.
Thanks, Camo. Camo says, hit the like button on your way in, everyone.
Absolutely, Camo. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, while Rick's monitoring, are you getting comments, Ricky?
I am. I haven't gotten anybody that has made a
seen anything.
So if you missed it, you guys need to go ahead and put in the comments where La La Farm is located. Not the county, but the city. Put that in the comments. What are we doing? T-shirt?
Yeah. So I'm not seeing comments. I haven't seen anything since 7:31. But all right, so
I'll tell you this: you can find it on the website.
Don't tell them.
Sorry.
All right, so this week, or when one of the things that when you hit 1,000 that YouTube allows you to start doing is they give you access to, or 1,000 subscribers, they give you access to what's called the community tab, and the community tab, I've been posting, sharing some links to the Meatloaf Wars videos, but just kind of little nuggets that happen around the farm. So we did, yesterday. This was an interesting discussion that I got into with someone today about our rooster doofus. So we went out yesterday and we found I'm just looking at the count. So we went out yesterday or Monday, and Lala found a clutch of eggs under our. Michael Harris nails it. You get a shirt, Michael.
Who would have thunk it was going to be Michael? We had said something really quick. Let me break in real quick. So We were talking about Michael in our very first live last week. I think other than myself and Papa and our personal accounts on YouTube, I think Michael was like pretty much one of the first ones, and he is stuck in with us all the way up to 1.28 thousand subscribers. So good job, Michael.
Michael, thank for your. So, what kind do you want? You were on last week, so you saw the shirts. Do you want the Florida shirt? You want the traditional one? You want the ma or the chicken butt?
Guess what?
Let Ricky know. Hey Gil, how are you, sir? Welcome, Camp Panton Family Compound. So we started using the community tab a lot, and so I went out yesterday and just to kind of check on this little clutch of eggs. So Lala went out Tuesday morning, called me and said, "We got baby chicks out here," and so I went out there, and sure enough, they come out of green eggs, so they're probably Easter eggers. Because they were a green egg, and Doofus, he's an Easter egger rooster. So those are going to be purebreds, or as purebred as an Easter egger can get. Let me put it that way. I know they're not purebred birds, but I'm taking an Easter egger hen and an Easter egger rooster because they're out of green eggs. So, so I go home. I go out there yesterday just to check, and there's one egg that's peeped all the way around but it's still closed. So the chick is still kind of struggling to get out of it. So I hopped on the side by side and drove up to the house as quickly as I could, hoping to get back and get this video. So I'm going to share this with you. This is from yesterday. Rick's probably going to do something with this. Like I said, he's the creative brain of this duo. I just do what I can, and but he's probably going to do something with this. But this is kind of cool. I mean, particularly if a lot of people on here, they're homesteaders, so you've seen this, so it's probably not going to be any big deal for you. But so this was just yesterday, and this is that little baby. This is that little baby hatching just yesterday. So I missed him actually breaking out of the shell. So when I went up to the house, that shell was still closed. And by the time I got back, there's a lot of flies because I think there's some older eggs in this clutch. And so I'm going to go out this weekend and kind of candle what I can and see if anything is viable. And if it's not, I'm just going to toss it because it does kind of stink. So she's sitting on some eggs that are not viable and probably well past viability stage because they're kind of stinking. I'm trying to get to the point where this little booger jumps out. So he gets in there, and right about here he starts peeping. And you'll see over here in the background, this is the hen that hatched out this clutch. She is an Andalusian, a black Andalusian. So some of these white eggs in here, this is a white egg that this chick hatched out of. So this is the hen that's incubating them. And so this very well may be her chick because there was only 2 or 3 white eggs, and this is the hen that was sitting on it. So this may be her. The other 2 are Easter eggers. So the other 2 that are with her that hatched out yesterday morning or Monday morning are not her chicks. So I'll speed this ahead. So right now, as that chick starts to peep, it starts to get the mama's attention, or not the mama, whichever one's laying on her. So you'll see she hears it, and then she comes over here and it's like, I hear something over my nest. These are the little Easter eggers up there that are hatched out Monday. So she's hearing it, and then she's going to come over and start checking it out. Now, this is in our buck pen under our hay feeder. And so it's kind of hidden. I mean, so she had kind of gotten on this clutch of eggs and then pushed all of the straw up around it. So when you looked at it from the outside, it just looks like there's a lot of straw up underneath this feeder. But she's been sitting on that nest in there for at least 3 weeks. And And nobody knew she was even there until she comes walking around with these two little chicks. So she's gonna jump from the right side. So this is the right side of the buck pen where she's at. She's gonna come down here and jump over into the left side because they're separated. And then she's like, I got enough of the media taking pictures of my baby. So she kind of puts her butt right up to the camera, and the other ones run under there, and that's all she wrote. So now she knows she's got another hatched chick there, and that hatched chick's wondering what's going on. You can see it because it was rather chilly the day that this was born, and it started shivering. Hey, Morris Patchahaven, how are you? Welcome. Well, we saw some video of the chicks hatching when we did our incubating. The kids really got, they really loved that, and so this hen is now going to jump over the rail over here, and then the other chicks. It's kind of funny. There's one of them. They're trying to get through this goat panel fencing and just can't. Their wings just can't flap fast enough to be able to get over there. So I was happy with this video. This turned out really cool. So those other two little chicks, those are both Easter egger birds, and then this newly hatched one is probably going to be an Andalusian because that's what the hen is. So she's going to turn her butt to the camera and tell me to get out, and that's all she wrote. So now they're huh? What?
Southern Life Homestead. How can I get some of your shirts?
Southern Life Homestead. We're working on that. I was hoping to have that up last week. We're going to be doing them through Square in terms of online purchases. We've got a few people that are wanting to get shirts, and as soon as I get that up, I will let you know. And then I'll just write your name down. But I hope to have it up. I hope to have it up last week. But here's how anyone with family involved in things, and again, it's been kind of nasty here up until the last 2 or 3 days. So I'd asked my daughter, who is the creative one of Ricky's creative, but my daughter Rebecca has a very strong artistic flair to her.
She's the artsy-fartsy one.
Ricky's just very creative digitally, artistically, but she's very creative and crafty. She's the one that decorated my office here. So nothing edited. Thank you. Take care. Thanks for coming. But I'd asked her last weekend to take our shirts, the 4 designs, and take pictures of them, artistic pictures, so that we can use that as the graphic on the online purchase. Because if it were up to me, I would just throw it onto a table and take a picture, and it's just not going to look nice. She's very creative like that, so that's what's holding it up. Morris Patchahaven, do y'all sell and ship your eggs? At this point, we do not sell fertilized eggs. What we sell about 40 dozen eggs a week to customers right now. But in this upcoming year, one of my goals over this winter is to build another chicken hutch so that we can start selective breeding of our own laying hens. We've been buying them through hatcheries for now 3 years, and I just don't want to do that anymore. I can't control the quality of the bird. Not that I'm disappointed at all with any of the hatcheries. We've primarily used My Pet Chicken. I've used another hatchery up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania for our broilers. And then most recently that
was Freedom Hatchery, right?
Was it Freedom Hatchery? And then another hatchery most recently for our for our white Brisset hens. Now, probably never heard of a white Brisset hen. Very few people have. It is a French meat bird. Rick's got a little short video coming out probably in the next few days. Just a very, very brief introduction of what the Brisset is, but it's a French breed. We've got 9 of those, basically starting out with that will be our breeding stock for raising these Brissets. This is just my opinion. So for what it's worth, we did our Cornish crosses this year, and I just felt really sorry for those birds. And that may sound really silly. I felt they grow so fast, they grow so heavy so fast that their bodies just can't keep up, and those birds do nothing but pant continuously. They got to the point prior to butchering where they had trouble even standing up and moving. They were so large. And so I probably, for that reason and that reason alone, will not be doing Cornish crosses again. So we'll probably be doing either a dual purpose for butchering, or we will be using these Cornish cross. This is the first time we've had them, and we will look forward to seeing some more videos in that. But to answer the original question, see how fast I drift off topic. Morris Patch, I haven't asked, do I ship the eggs? I don't right now, but hopefully by next spring, I will be able to ship fertile eggs. And the ones that we're going to focus on, at least initially, is the Brisset, the white Brisset, which is the French meat bird. Probably going to be the Welsomer, probably going to be an Australorp, and my personal favorite is an Andalusian, but they will not be for meat. They will be for egg production. If you're not familiar with Andalusian bird, check them out. They are an absolutely great and incredible breed. Very docile, very friendly, and just absolute natural protectors of the rest of your birds. Instead of running from predators, the Andalusian, which is what the black one was in that video.
I was about to say that bird that was brooding on those eggs, that was an Andalusian.
That was one of our more mature Andalusians. She's a black variety, the perfect. If you look at the American Poultry Association, the ideal Andalusian bird is like a really beautiful silvery metallic color. She's more black, so she would not be ideal. So she would not be one that I would have in our breeding program, but I want to be able to breed good quality heritage birds. None of these crosses like the Cornish cross. I mean, I was very happy with the product. What I got was exactly what was advertised. Big, gigantic birds really quickly. I don't want to do that any longer. I felt really bad for those birds. But that's one of my focuses over winter, is to get our breeding hutches or our breeding coops built, so that we can basically contain our roosters. Because we've only got one rooster right now, and that's Doofus. Right now he's in with the hens. So I don't, we're obviously getting fertilized eggs because now we got 4 babies total. So Doofus is getting her done. But I don't want him to. So, because they're hiding these eggs in clutches all over the place, and I'm coming up with mixed breed chickens, and that I don't want. But, at this point, it's not hugely important, because that whole flock out there where Doofus is where all of our egg birds are. There's I think we got a total of 120, 130 or so in that coop, and then the meat birds will be up front in the breeding coop. So, so that's kind of what's going on with that. Do you sell and ship your eggs? For the eating eggs, we do not. If that's what you're referring to, Morris Patch, it would cost way more. But once we get to the point where we're actually able to sell our incubated eggs, absolutely, we'll be selling those for the 4 breeds that we're going to be doing. Homegrown Wife, thank you for stopping by. Appreciate it. Southern Boy Prepper. Thanks. You've really come on in the last several weeks and started seeing a lot of comments from you. Really, really, really appreciate it. Southern Boy Prepper was that was when we talked about Doofus on our community page today. Kind of, brought up a question. He's got a mean hen or a mean rooster, and Doofus was kind of a jerk when we first got him. I call him our accidental hen, because he was not supposed to be a rooster. We had them sexed at the hatchery, and we did not buy a straight run. We bought sexed hens. But when we got the package, we ended up getting a total of 5 roosters, and Doofus was one of those. So when we first started getting the roosters together, they had this. 3 of them had a Mortal Kombat fight. So Doofus took on 2 of the others, and they're no longer with us because Doofus killed them. So that left us with 2, or no, he did that with 2 others. Then we had a third one we live in a very small community. And so the dump, the solid waste collection area, has free-range chickens. And the dump attendants, they go up there and they collect their eggs from the dump. And so they needed a new rooster. So I took them one of our accidental hens. And so now our local solid waste collection place has a collection of hens and roosters that they're now breeding naturally. And our happy boy is one of those roosters. One of our others, we ended up, he was killed in what we called turkey. Turkey was a black Andalusian rooster, and just a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous bird. And I was really sad to lose him, but he knocked over a goat panel. And when it did, he was messing around with it. We shouldn't have had it there in the first place, but he knocked it over. It landed on top of him. He lived, but it dislocated both of his hips. And we ended up putting him down. So that leaves Doofus the rooster. And but Doofus, when we first got him, was not a nice bird. He was kind of mean. And so, the question that was asked on there is, I gave him some feedback. What do you do with a mean rooster? And when I first read about it on Facebook, I'm like, you got to be kidding. This would never, ever, ever work. But what I was told to do on a Facebook community post was grab the rooster, hold him as tight as you can. Do not let that rooster move for nothing. And so I caught Doofus. We use it is a fishing net that's made out of rubber, so it kind of keeps its form instead of getting all tangled up in their feathers. And so I caught Doofus, and I carried that bird around for probably close to 90 minutes. And then I took some feed, some crumble feed, and I threw it down on the floor right in front of where I was going to sit. So after carrying him around really tight where he couldn't move for about 90 minutes, I then sat down while all of the hens come over and started eating this crumble at my feet, and I would not let him go for nothing. He couldn't move, he couldn't peck at me, he couldn't scratch at me, and I just held him as tight as I could. When I let that bird go, he stood on my leg for a second, and then he took off like a rocket on rails. And I have never had a problem with that bird since. He is very calm. He doesn't chase nobody because he knows that if he chases anybody, I'm coming after him and I'm going to hold him. And he hates to be held. He does not like to be held. He fights it like a passion, but he knows. So chickens are pretty smart, but it works. It works like a champ. So if you want to to tame your mean rooster, you gotta put him into a submissive position, and it's all about who's the alpha in the relationship. So he was very responsive to that. Other people said they've tried that and it didn't work, but it takes a while. And then about once a month or so, I go catch Doofus. So the picture that's on the community page is actually from yesterday because I was out there and I had the opportunity to catch Doofus. So I took the net out and I caught him, and I just sat there the whole time that Lala's out feeding the goats. I've got Doofus just sitting on my lap. He's trying to escape and get away, and I just don't let him go. I just hug him as tight as I can. He's gotten way past. He doesn't try to peck at me anymore because he knows it'll end, but he doesn't like it nonetheless. What else? Meatloaf War. So we're running up on I don't want to go any more than an hour or so. We're running up on an hour. So Meatloaf War. So we have, drum roll, since last week, we've added 3 more recipes. Lori's World, cheese stuffed meatloaf with a brown sugar glaze, Hat Creek Homestead, Amish Mennonite Man Catcher Meatloaf. That, in my opinion, should win just based on the title. And not only does she make the meatloaf, but then she goes into why she calls it Man Catcher Meatloaf. Reason being is that her husband and herself were dating. Now, they were dating. You look at the video, and she made for the first meal that she ever cooked for her then boyfriend this meatloaf, and now they're married. And she said the same things happened with a few of her friends. They were single. They made their date this meatloaf, and now they're all married. So she calls it the Amish Mennonite Man Catcher Meatloaf, and it looks amazing. It's meatloaf. A layer of bacon covered by a layer of meatloaf, covered by a layer of homemade macaroni and cheese, covered by more meatloaf, and covered by another layer of bacon. You got to watch it. And then My Tiny Retirement, that one went up today, and that's a cheeseburger meatloaf. And that is everything that would go onto a cheeseburger goes into that meatloaf. It looked amazing. So next week for our live, we're going to be highlighting, we're going to be going through all of the meatloaf recipes very briefly. Obviously, we can't play the entire video, but we're going to highlight some of the interesting aspects of all of those videos. So I'm going to be contacting all of the Meatloaf Wars contestants, participants, creators, channels to see if they can come on to the live next week, and they can engage in the chat and hopefully kind of make the pitch, because that video from that live is going to be the video or the digital video voting booth. So you can vote for all of them, one of them, 10 of them, however many you want. You can vote as many times as you want. But I didn't want to make a thumbs up on the video itself, the voting criteria, because some of the channels are much smaller than others. Some of the channels are 3,000 and 4,000, where the one that came in today has 26 subscribers. So I didn't think that was really fair to do it that way. So I needed to level the playing field. So the video that comes from next week's Wednesday chat, where we're going to do nothing in that live stream but talk about meatloaf, is going to be the digital voting booth. So from the group that's in here right now, I know we've got Britain Farm Homestead. They've got an entry in there. Morris Patch of Heaven, Philly meatloaf. Philly cheesesteak meatloaf. That is an incredible looking recipe. Britain Farm Homestead, theirs was amazing looking. I mean, they're all amazing. It's just crazy how much variety is there in meatloaf. Everything from a canned meatloaf that's done by Page's Homestead up in Canada. Peggy emailed me saying, "Can I do a recipe that's canned?" I said, "As long as it's meatloaf, I don't care what it is." We've got keto meatloaves, we've got gluten-free meatloaves, we've got canned meatloaf. There's everything in between. So, but that's what we're going to do. As of right now, we are up to 31 people. So this, if you're on here and you haven't participated, you want to participate, you got 7 days or up until next Wednesday. Ideally, you can do it before our live next week, and then we can talk about it. But since last week, we got 3 more. So go ahead and put your entry in. Rick, drop the link for the Meatloaf Wars intro video.
Okay. Twin Brooks Acres just asked, I don't know if this is a possible thing that we could do. He said, I just got here. Can you start over?
No, we can't. But here's how this works. So this last week was the first time we live streamed, and we don't know how any of this stuff works. So
real quick, Dad. Michael Harris, I dropped the farm.com email. Email us your size, preferred shirt, and an address that we can ship it to.
Yeah, just email it to us. So last topic, kind of before we kind of close this down, and we only get 2 minutes. What do you want to see on these live streams? What would be, do you want us to just keep it like we did tonight, which is just talking about stuff the stuff that we go through on a day-to-day basis. I kind of had a loose agenda that I went through, but do you think that you'd like to see kind of just general farm update? Do you think interviews with other channels is an idea? I know Ridge Life has done that in the past, but they did it in relation to a freedom tour that they did. Some of the amazing channels that I run across, just really, really cool. They don't necessarily fit into one genre, but they're just fascinating channels that the more I dig in and start watching videos, the more I like them. And, some of the other ones, like, very, very small channels, to kind of get them up and running, not necessarily talking about them, but, what drove them to do what they do. I mean, everybody gets involved in homesteading, maybe for different reasons. Maybe they have a different path in life, but I just think that would be really fascinating to talk about, what brought people to that point in their life where they want to seek food security, where they want to be more independent in how they live their lives. Morris Patch of Heaven Homestead, I love, they do an incredible live stream. Unfortunately, the time when they do them, I can't generally get there, but they do that's an incredible channel. If you haven't checked them out, go do so, because they are just, some of the stuff that they talk about in terms of nutrition and nourishment and natural eating is just phenomenal. So check them out. I mean, they do a great job. But stuff like that, where we could interview really unique channel content developers, I think that would be kind of cool. Is that something you think you would like? If so, let us know. And then the last thing I'm going to close out with is we got, again, Rick dropped the email, right?
Don't forget, I did. Don't forget, you also have the Baker County Civil War Nugget. Said you were going to talk about.
Okay. Two more things then. So I couldn't talk about the Baker County Civil War issue, and because that would have given away where we live for the giveaway question. So in Baker County, which is this little itty bitty tiny town, it's the next county west of Duval, which is where Jacksonville is, in Northeast Florida. This is a very, very, very proud county for one reason. Or lots of reasons, but a main reason that this county is very proud of its historical legacy is related to the Civil War and the Battle of, look it up, the Battle of Olustee, Olustee. That is the farthest point east and south that the Union Army ever made it into Florida. The Confederacy stopped them at the Battle of Olustee, and that is their claim to fame. And for that reason, every spring there is a reenactment of the Battle of Olustee. It's just a really blast of a time, and they have a state-run museum there of Civil War history, of things that have been unearthed and found on the premises there. So it's just another cool little regional museum. So if you ever get in Baker County, Florida, if you ever come to visit, go visit Olustee. Cool little place. And the last thing is Rick's already dropped the email. If you would like one of these, just shoot us an email. Let me know. We got our stickers this week. So I'm going to try to get it lighting. So that's our sticker. So all right, that's all I got, folks. Let us know what you want to see. If this was good, if you like this, if we can make it better, how could we do that? What kind of content would you like? If you'd like more information, more educational stuff, if you'd like kind of interviews that we could identify with unique channels kind of in line with what we're doing. If that's the kind of stuff you'd like to see, we could probably do like a 10 or 15 minute interview each week, kind of highlighting someone around the country that we think is doing something really novel that you might be able to replicate. So
we need some more good news. Today's news.
Yep, I agree. All right, folks, that's all we got for tonight. I really, really sincerely appreciate you stopping by, and I hope this has been informative. I hope you've had a good time. Until next week, we're going to make this recurring. So it'll be every Wednesday at 7 o'clock is the plan. So until next week, thank you. Check out our video on Friday. That'll be at the General Coffee State Park.
You're not going to tell them the golden rule?
Oh, always treat others. So the golden rule, always treat others as you would like to be treated. Be well, my friends.
Thank you guys for visiting.